Hello, and welcome to Max Level Games.
How are you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's installment of the Max Level Games podcast. I am your host, Mr. James Walters. Unfortunately, Liam could not be here this week, so I'm going to take this one on my own. It's also not going to be a very long one, I'm going to warn you, because this week has been quite dry for news and such, so yeah. For those who don't know, this is a weekly installment where we sit here, well, for usually an hour. This is not going to be an hour, I'm very sorry. We talk about games, comics, films, anything and all things to do with pop culture, nerdy stuff, all the good things in life, all the good things that you need. In case you didn't notice as well, this can be a bit of a mature podcast. We don't really sugarcoat things here on the Max Level Games podcast, unless those things are donuts or just sweets in general. So you've been warned. You're gonna hear some choice language. I apologize for the sensitive ears out there, but we don't hold back. So. Yes, so for those of you new to the podcast, first thing we do is talk about games we played. So, last week I mentioned how I started, finally, to play Nier Automata, and although I know, very obviously, that there are multiple different campaigns you can play through, I played just the first one to get a feel of it. I will eventually go back and do the 9S campaign, and I believe it's A2 campaign as well, just to, round out the story fully. But no, I have finished the first campaign with 2B. About 12, close to 13 hours worth of gameplay, and that was only because most of the side quests I just kind of ignored. Some of them were quite fetch questy, a few of them were way too strong for me, and I was like, I can't be arsed leveling for this thing, so. But, excuse me, all in all, I do feel like it is actually a really good game. I'm glad I didn't jump into it at the point of its hype. I'm glad I kind of waited a little while to wait it out. But all in all, I do think it is actually really good. The combat is really fast. I feel like if you'd play on the hardest setting, it would require a lot more strategy and planning, and definitely some very quick reaction times. I mean, playing on standard setting as I was just button mashing for the most part, and dodging occasionally when the robot enemies fucking signal their attacks, just dodge out the way at the right time, get a nice powerful combo hit, or counter-attack hit. But otherwise, no, I think the combat's really good. The story itself, I've only seen a sample of it, so I can't really comment on the whole. Really, I think to play this first campaign on its own, just to get a gauge of the story, is a bit incomplete for the best part, because I've heard other people say that when you play the whole thing, you get this proper, in-depth, how's the best way of putting it? It makes you think, really, about, the fertility of life and all this kind of business, and AIs and such. So, really, I really liked it. I'll just say that. It's a good game. I like Platinum Games stuff. I didn't really try the Bayonetta games, but since I know now they're working on something else with Square Enix for the future. It was at E3 this year, so we'll see how that goes out. But no, Nier Automata, good game. I'd highly recommend it. The other thing I've played is, well, I've kind of gone on to the next part of the Lego Harry Potter remaster collection. So now I'm playing years 5 through 7, which I have to hold my hands up and say, yes, for the most part, mechanically, it is much better than years 1 through 4. I've not encountered as many glitches, to be fair. What else has changed, really? Well, there's new spells and stuff, but that's sort of, I think that happens throughout the film, really. What else has changed? Oh, they've added a way to find character studs and students in peril, which is always a good thing, because in the first game, for those who don't know Lego games, you can get red bricks or red boxes or whatever the different variations you want to get, of red brick-esque things, and those are essentially extras which you can they're sort of like cheats, but you know what? No, yeah, they're cheats. They're legitimate cheats, basically, because you've got to unlock them you've got to earn them to actually use them. So it's not like you tap in a code. You can tap in codes, but if you earn them this way, you actually get a trophy for it. So it's okay, fair enough. And it really helps with things like trophies such as getting like 1 billion studs, because the extras have multipliers, so you'd have like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Turn them all on, it becomes like times 3 fucking thousand odds, something like that. It's ridiculous. Either way. So yeah, with Lego Harry Potter years 1 through 5, they've sort of streamlined a lot of things. Character selection's a bit easier. What else? Potions and stuff. It's a lot of things. Basically, they just made it a bit easier to do. Like spells and just generally like the completing of the game. Like trophies and stuff. It's a lot more like things you'd find along the way, I think is the best way of putting it. Like, I haven't looked deep into the trophies yet, but as far as I can see, they've not got like the really stupid things where it's like, have Ron defeat 20 spiders, but oh wait, spiders only appear in 1 level of the fucking game kind of achievements. I think this is where they started to put more like the silly trophies, but not super time wasting trophies, if you know what I mean. As I say, like with the previous game, there was the trophies like have Fang defeat 20 characters, have Ron defeat 20 spiders specifically. I think with this, it's just like, you know, have these 2 characters in a party, or there was one I did look at. I believe it said have Voldemort defeat every variation of Harry, and there's only like 5 or 6 variations, so it's just like you'd essentially you know, plays Voldemort and then change the AI character into a Harry Potter version, and then keep doing that for like 5 minutes. So I think things like that is where it's really going with. But as I say, it's a Lego game at the end of the day. If you're a fan of the Lego games, then you know you're gonna like it. But I still stand by what I said. The game that came after this, which is Lego Batman 2, from then on, those are the best Lego games in my opinion. They really refine the gameplay. You can actually have proper storytelling with like not dialogue and such, and they do tell like all original stories after that. So yeah, in my opinion, it's still a good game, but this is literally the tail end of when the Lego games sort of grew up, in my opinion. But end of the day, that's what I think. If you guys have a different opinion, let me know. And the last thing I was playing was it's very old school, I will admit. For a while, we've been sort of eyeing up an old PS1 classic that we used to love playing. Trying to buy it on eBay was a bit difficult, because a lot of these PS1 games on eBay, it's like either bid and get like it goes into exuberant prices, or you buy it now and it's still like a bit dear considering it's an old game. But you know, if you really want to play it, you pay it. Bugs Bunny, Lost in Time. Now, I'm of the firm mind that like some of the older Looney Tunes games were really good, and even though I've played it now again, fucking how many years later, and you know the mechanics and stuff, they haven't aged super well. It's a bit rough around the edges, but it's still fun in that old 3D platformer sense, or at least maybe I'm just nostalgia blind. I don't know. Unfortunately, if Liam was here, I could ask him if he's played it or not. But yeah, Bugs Bunny Lost in Time I don't really know how to describe it. It's very, like I said, it's very rough. We picked it up for about £12, which is not, depending on you know, other PS1 classics you can find. That's a fair price, I'd say. It felt weird to go back, because as soon as like the music kicked in for like various levels, like the Stone Age era, I was like, I remember like almost beat for beat this song. And then as soon as I actually got into the level itself, I was like, I remember doing this, and you've got to jump over this. Here's all the carrots, rolls. It was just it was a nice little trip down memory lane, really. And I also realized that back in the day, I never actually finished it. Never have I ever actually finished Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. It was right down the list. So I think although it might take a while, even though I have other things to play, I'm gonna actually go for not the 100% mark with this game, but I'm gonna actually finish through the game itself and finish the whole story. There's like 120 clocks to get, or time pieces, or whatever you would call them. So it might take a little while, but I think going back to it and fully experiencing this like this probably like it's like up there with Crash and Spyro as like the cornerstone games from my childhood. So I'm actually gonna give it the time of day now that I'm an adult and can play it fully. So yeah. Right, real quick before we get into the news and stuff, as I say, news this week is quite dry. I want to talk about the new Venom trailer. Literally yesterday, they dropped what some people are calling the third trailer, and some people are calling it the second trailer. I think the official Sony YouTube channel is calling it trailer 2, because the very first thing we got, they didn't even show Venom at all, was a teaser trailer, whereas this, I think, is the second, like, full trailer. All these trailer different, like, terminologies these days are getting confusing as fuck. So the Venom trailer 2, it shows a lot more Venom than any other trailer, obviously. Like, I think people's problem with the Venom movie in general is the teaser trailer showed no Venom. Trailer 2 showed us a bit of Venom, literally at the end. It's like, here's what Venom looks like, and we're like, oh, it looks pretty cool. And then trailer 3 is just like, here is Venom. Oh yeah, and Eddie Brock too, and a few other human characters. It's very Venom, and depending on what people are expecting from this film, you may be happy about that, you may not. I really don't know. I personally think that it looks actually pretty good. I think apparently there were a few test audiences in the last few weeks. This isn't news, but this is more hyperbole. Who've seen the film and was like, apparently their only criticism of the film was where's Spider-Man, because everyone associates Venom with Spider-Man, and quite rightly so. He is essentially Spider-Man's, well, in my opinion, his best villain. So if that's the only complaint with the film is, oh, where's Spidey, I think they're on something good. But saying that, if Venom is really good and is like a bit of a success, that means all the other side projects are going to get greenlit, like Silver and Black and the Morbius film and the Silk film as well. So I hope this is good, because I love Venom, but I don't know what to expect from those, because Silver and Black, for instance, Silver Sable, I don't know much at all. The only thing I know right now is that she's in the new Spider-Man game. Black Cat is, well, it's Black Cat. I think she could be good, because although, again, see, I'm saying these in my head now, but these all rely on Spider-Man, so if they're not going to have Spider-Man, I don't know how it's going to work. But at the end of the day, we don't know anything about these films, so we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Okay, so now we're getting into the news. This is the news part of the podcast, as you probably noticed. We usually do the film news first and the game news last, and then anything else we want to talk about at the end. So, but as I say, this week for news is pretty dry, but I didn't want to leave you guys without a podcast this week, because some of the news pieces are quite big in terms of, like, overall scale and scope and stuff, especially on the film side of things. Game news is kind of, it's big in its own right, but this week the film news is, like, really big. So the first biggest story of the week is the Disney Fox acquisition, which the shareholders of Fox had a meeting this week. Apparently it only took them 15 minutes, no longer than 15 minutes to complete the meeting, and they voted yes. The majority vote said yes to the acquisition, so essentially Disney has bought Fox now, except the last thing they need to do is, like, all the government red tape approval stuff, antitrust and all this kind of business. So, but after that, as soon as that's done, then I think Disney can do whatever they want with the Fox properties they have. But the thing with this last, like, milestone with the government approval and stuff, it could take 6 months, it could take 6 days, it could take 6 hours, you never know. It could be going on right now. We'll see, we never know. That's the difficulty with this final hurdle, is depending on how far along the process behind the scenes is going, we don't know when we'll actually see a finish line. We will just have to wait on all this. But to link in with this, Disney's Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios' basically godfather, apparently he already has plans for Fox and all those X-Men properties, but not so much the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, more Galactus and Silver Surfer. He has plans for them in the MCU already. What those plans are, I don't think he's not really divulged, obviously. But as soon as everything's greenlit, then we could see them. Maybe we'll see them sooner than expected. While everyone else will take time, like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, all those guys will take time to get into the MCU. I feel like Galactus and Silver Surfer could be in there quite quick if there's already plans in place. we don't know until everything is confirmed. But on the other side of these, on the flip side of all this good news, hey, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four are coming home. On the flip side of this thing, some of the Fox movies they've got planned may have been scrapped. So with the X-Men, we had Dark Phoenix and New Mutants and Gambit films in the works with Fox. So apparently, Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, they are still happening. When they're happening, no one knows, but they are still going on. They've kind of had a bit like a bit of a messy track record so far of like production and stuff. I'm pretty sure they scrapped all the sets from Dark Phoenix and all the actors moved on to onto new projects. But then like they looked at the footage and went, "This is fucking awful. What is this movie? This is shite. This is ridiculous." So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna have to fix this somehow." Pull a Justice League on it. And then New Mutants as well. Apparently, one of the cast members was caught with drugs, and this caused a whole mess of things. So I don't know what's going on there. And as well as that, the tone set by the trailer that we all saw, which is like an X-Men horror movie, and we're like, oh yeah, looks pretty good. That's not even what the film is itself. So we don't know what's happening with them at the minute. But what we do know, and part of me is glad to say this, and part of me is like saddened. Obviously, the Gambit movie isn't happening. As much as everyone wants it to happen, as much as Channing Tatum wants to play Gambit is not getting his own movie. It's just it's dead. So all the news from the past how many years of a Gambit film, being it's in production, it's on a director, it's got a writer, it lost its director, it has no script anymore, Channing Tatum is busy. It's done. Okay, Gambit is done. No more Gambit. Okay, no, don't get Gambit. So, but right, onto the Disney side of things and the Marvel property we do know about. Guardians of the Galaxy. This is another big story this week. Obviously, last week during Comic-Con, James Gunn was fired because of some controversial tweets and stuff from like nearly a decade ago. My own personal opinions, they don't offend me, obviously, but I can see why people be offended by them. But at the same time, I just think they're not that. There's worse shit in the world to be upset over, apart from some stupid tweets from like a decade ago. Can we not move on from that? And as we've already mentioned as well, this isn't the first time they've come to light. They've been brought up before. They've just been brought up now for a whole different reason, and James Gunn's been fired for it. So, but that's beside the point. The point right now I'm trying to say is that all the Guardians cast have officially come out with a proper statement on the matter. As we know, Dave Bautista's been a very vocal supporter of James Gunn. Michael Rooker, he left Twitter. Sean Gunn wrote like a 10 tweet essay thing, thread, whatever you call it on Twitter, to describe the situation. Chris Pratt had a Balverse, Zoe Saldana and Karen Gillan had like just general love for the cast. So did Pom Clementieff. I think I'm saying that right. The only people we didn't hear from was Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel. So, but as I say now, they've all there's a big letter thing you can find on Instagram, on all their Instagram pages, and I'm pretty sure most pages anyway. You find a big letter that they've all signed. So that's Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, Zoe Saldana, Sean Gunn, Pom Clementieff, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, and Michael Rooker. They've all signed it. Basically just saying, yeah, we love the guy. We don't like what he said. No one likes what he said, obviously, but it's been a long time. He's a different person. They were sort of like relating to the Guardians themselves, a group of misfits who did dumb shit but then got brought together and saved the universe. They've really gotten behind James Gunn with this statement of theirs, which has led to other rumours and speculations as well. The first being that these guys might not even do Guardians 3. There could be a bit of a cast walk-off thing. Again, total rumour. This is not confirmed. Don't say this is confirmed at all, because that's a very big deal. If the entire Guardians cast is like, no, we refuse to do Guardians 3 without James Gunn, that's going to cause a fucking shitstorm. It really is. And the other bit of news is about James Gunn. Now, someone told me that they heard on the radio here in the UK that there is talk of James Gunn being rehired. And apparently a few news sites out on the internet have also said, yeah, there's news he might be rehired to do Guardians 3 and whatever else. And then other sites have said, no, he's getting replaced. And he's going to get replaced soon. They're going to announce it soon. None of these sites have really given any sources to back up their claims. So we don't have any confirmation. Again, all total rumours. The problem with James Gunn as being employed by Disney is, and this is, I don't have every single bit of fact here, but I'm sort of regurgitating what I've heard. Obviously, the Disney Fox deal is very important. They need government approval, and obviously government is like the Trump administration and all this kind of thing in America. James Gunn is a very, very, very vocal, doesn't like Trump, basically. Does not like Trump at all. He's very vocal like, in his dislike of Trump and how he does things. So, if Disney were to hire James Gunn back, would that cause Trump and his administration to be like, no, we don't approve of this transaction because you have a staff member who's mean to me. It sounds ridiculous, but I think this is the world we live in. So, yeah. And whereas if they don't bring him back, then there's going to be backlash there because everyone's like, well, he made the Guardians. He was set up to lead the next phase or two of the MCU with going cosmic. And really, in this situation, Disney is boned either way. If they hire him back, the Disney Fox deal could be in danger. It's no guarantee, but it could be in danger. If they don't hire him back, everyone's gonna be upset because this is his property. This is his baby in terms of his creativity. So, there's no way to win for Disney right now. The only thing they can do is go with their own guts, but they're probably looking at a business standpoint. So, I don't really know. We can only hope for the best, really. Just hope for the best. Separate the artist from the art. If James Gunn says some dumb shit, he says some dumb shit. Have him apologise in a press conference and get on with it. Back in the day like it used to be. If someone says stupid things, it was just, I apologise for what I said. Let's move on. So, but yes, either way. We have more Spider-Man Far From Home rumours. Again, from more people who are going to show up in the film. The more light-hearted one is Maria Hill's character, Kobe Smulders. She's rumoured to appear, obviously alongside Nick Fury, who is also rumoured to appear as well. But we've also got another villain as well. So far we've had Hydra Man. We know Mysterio's in there. Oh God. Apparently Spider-Woman's supposed to be in there. I know she's not a villain, but just I'm saying various characters and stuff. Now we're hearing that Molten Man is going to appear. And if you're like me and you just went, who the fuck is Molten Man? You're not the only one. Like, Molten Man of all people. It's like, I get the water and fire / lava, molten steel contrast thing, but like, is that really necessary? And how big are they going to be in these films? So I really don't know. Honestly, it's only started filming, I believe, and there's just rumors flying everywhere of like who's in it. So, oh God, with all rumors, especially around fucking Far From Home, just take it all with a pinch of salt, because until the film comes out or we see any sort of trailers, we have no idea what's going to happen. But speaking of trailers and stuff, we did get a sort of newish one this week for Iron Fist Season 2, which is due out on September 7th, same day as Spider-Man PS4. Now, if you're like me, you hated the first season, or at least of all the Netflix shows, Iron Fist was my least favourite. I did not really like it at all. But Season 2 is coming out, for better or worse, and apparently it's going to fix a lot of the issues. And one of the issues it's going to fix is... Now, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently there's a term going around called Netflix bloat. So, like, with Netflix's own original content, apparently a lot of the time they tend to give it more than it needs. And so, apparently Luke Cage Season 2, I haven't finished watching it yet, but it's like, 12, 13 episodes? Many sources have said it would have been better about 8, maybe 8 or 9. Just get rid of like 2 episodes in there that didn't need to be there. Well, apparently season 2 of Iron Fist is going to fix that problem and going to have 8 episodes. It's going to be an 8 episode long series as opposed to 12 or 13. I believe there's still going to be like roughly the 50 to an hour long minute episodes like they usually are, but it's just going to be a shorter series. So we're going to lose out on like 3 or 4 extra hours of story. But if that story is not important to like the overall narrative of Iron Fist, or at least Iron Fist Season 2, then you know what, I'm okay with that. Because as I say, Season 1 was not my favourite. Did not like it at all. If they're going to fix the problems with Season 1 and just make it a bit more condensed, a bit more focused in Season 2, then believe me, I am all down for that. So, What else? Star Wars news. Star Wars Episode 9. The cast has sort of been revealed. Obviously, the returning characters of like Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, all those kind of guys, they're back, obviously. But what's also interesting is apparently Carrie Fisher is going to be in this film as well. Obviously using unused footage from Episode 7, because obviously she unfortunately passed away. She's going to be in the film. Mark Hamill's going to be back as Luke Skywalker. And obviously, if you guys haven't seen Last Jedi, I can't say anything. It's not been out for a year, but you know, it's surprising to hear that, or it may or may not be surprising to hear that, depending on your opinions on The Last Jedi. And the most surprising one, or maybe not really, is Billy D. Williams is going to be in the film, who played Lando Calrissian back in the original trilogy. I think a lot of people are worried by this news because it's like, oh god, Lando's in it. They're going to kill him too. First it was Han, and now they're going to kill fucking Lando. You watch. But we'll see on that matter. I don't really know. We can only hope that they don't kill him, because seriously, stop killing off the old guys. I get it. You're trying to be symbolic of, oh, there is a new group of people and we must do out with the old to take the story further. But you don't have to literally kill them off. That's unnecessary. I mean, Han Solo's one, yeah, I guess you could make an argument that it was part of Kylo Ren's character arc of such. But nearly done now with the film news. Second to last piece of news is Game of Thrones Season 8. It is 8, isn't it? I always get this confused. I think we're on Season 9, but we're not. It's Season 8. It's coming out next year. It's been said that the episodes, while we're having a shorter season, which we know, I think it's like 6 or 7 episodes in the season. It's a very short one. They aren't going to be very long episodes. You know, people were thinking like, oh, we're going to have like 2-hour-long episodes. It's going to be like a fucking film, basically. It's not. It's not going to be 2-hour-long episodes. According to the guy who's making the show, like one of the showrunners, he said they're not 2 hours long, probably between 50 and 90 minutes. So just under an hour or an hour and a half around about, but not 2 hours. So either way, it's not going to be as long as people are speculating they are. And the last piece of news is Netflix has got a series called Altered Carbon. You know, truth be told, I haven't watched it yet. I've been meaning to watch it. It looks pretty interesting. That's getting renewed for a season 2. So if you're a big fan of that show, there's going to be more of it at some point. But, and this also, I don't understand either, but someone else may understand this. The main character, Takeshi Kovacs, if that's I'm saying it right, who was played by Joel Kinnaman, if you remember, he was from Suicide Squad, I believe. He's getting replaced with Anthony Mackie from Marvel, who plays Falcon. He's taking over as the same character. Maybe I have to watch the show to understand how that's possible. But right now, I'm just reporting what's going on. So if you're a fan of that show, you're gonna get more of it. But if you like Joel Kinnaman, unfortunately, he's getting replaced with Anthony Mackie. But Anthony Mackie's great, so you know, hopefully whatever goes on in season 2, people will enjoy it either way. Okay. Now, for the gaming news, this is very short. I'm sorry, the gaming news this week has been very dry. And even so, this first bit of news is both news and rumour. So, again, pinch of salt all the way. Now, we all know with Sony and stuff, they do the big firmware updates twice a year, usually. We've already had one earlier in the year, and we're going to get another one soon. Update 6.0. The beta testers who wanted to sign up for it, they had time to do that up until July 27th. So obviously right now it's the 1st of August. You can't sign up for the beta anymore. Anyone who's signed up for it will get their update package, I guess, hopefully at the end of August. Now, obviously it's a big update. It's very big. So a lot of the rumours surrounding it are what we're going to get in the update. One of the things people want more than anything else, I personally don't want it, but you know, other people do, and I can understand why they want it. They want the ability to change the gamer tag. So that's been something we've wanted for a long time. Sean Layden at PSX last year, I believe, said, yeah, that is coming. He didn't specify it was coming this year, but he said, yeah, we are working on it. And another thing that's rumoured for this update, and this is pretty big if this becomes true. Now, it was leaked by Marcus Sellis, who is apparently a very infamous leaker when it comes to Sony and such, or just gaming in general. He reckons that this next big PS4 update is going to include backwards compatibility. And if that's true, that is a major step forward for Sony. At the minute, Xbox has that over PlayStation, you know, backwards compatibility with like 360 and I think original Xbox titles. I don't know about that last one. But either way, I think if they do give us this in the next update, that'll be brilliant. You know, there's so many like PS3 classics, in my opinion, that I'd love to play on like without having to drag my PS3 over to a friend's house to play other games, you know, just because I can't play them on PS4. Whether that'll be disc-based, I don't know. Whether it'll be download-based, I don't know. But either way, if it's true, that'll be absolutely brilliant. I'd really love to have backwards compatibility, mainly because we were discussing the other day about the Dead Space franchise. And I was like, yeah, I'd play those games again, happily. So if you could play them on the PS4, I'd love it. Absolutely brilliant. Now, the beta testers should be getting their hands on the update towards the end of August, and we might hear things then. You know, they might have stuff they can talk about officially, or they might just like slyly leak stuff as to what's in the update. We don't know yet. But if we don't hear anything by then, we'll hear something by PSX this year, which is usually in December time. So, and for PSX, by the way, is PlayStation Experience. For those of you who don't know, it's basically E3, but just for Sony, and that always takes place in December. Last year's was okay. A few years ago, they released footage of Crash, so it was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. So we'll just have to wait on that one. Yeah. Now, the next piece it makes me very happy. It makes me very happy to announce this. Spider-Man PS4, one of my most anticipated games this year, of like 3 or 4. It's coming out on 7th of September. The game has gone gold. Yes, you heard that right, the game has gone gold. The game is done. The game is officially done. It's getting out onto disc to manufacturers. It's getting made. It's getting sent out everywhere. It's done. Spider-Man PS4 is done. Now, that doesn't mean the developers are done with it. It just means that between now and its official release date, the version on the disc is probably going to have a day one update. That's kind of like a thing nowadays. As soon as the first day is released of a game, they have like a big update for it. So, yeah. But either way, it just means it's done. It means they've finished with the game, and I'm so excited for it. It is literally just over a month away. It's a month and 6 days away from playing Spider-Man PS4, and I cannot wait. It's going to be fucking awesome. We're going to shift gears here for a little second. I forgot to put this down on the notes, but I do think it's worth a mention. Xbox games with gold were announced the other day. What games you guys are going to get this month in August? So for the 360 titles, you're getting Dead Space 3 and Epic Mickey 2. I played the first Epic Mickey game on the Wii. I didn't play the second game. And Dead Space 3, although it's sort of the weaker of the 3 games, I still think it is a very good game in terms of the franchise as a whole. And the Xbox One games are, is it Forza Horizon? I think it is. Hang on, I'm just going to get my notes up real quick. I did make a post of this on the Facebook page, so if you guys are on that, you'd have seen this already. But where's it gone? Max Level Games. So yeah, Dead Space 3 and Epic Mickey 2 for the 360 titles. And as for the Xbox One titles, I'm bringing them up now. Just internet's really slow, unfortunately. Let's see. Yes, here we go. Yeah, Forza Horizon 2 and For Honor, which is obviously a game Liam was a big fan of. That's coming to the Xbox One's games with gold this month, so you can look forward to that. But PS Plus, we don't have ours yet. It's probably going to get announced today, probably later on today, because it's the first. It sort of fell weirdly this time around. The last Wednesday of the month for July was a bit too far out to show off the games, so we're going to probably get them announced today, and they're going to come out on the 7th, which will be the first Tuesday of the month, so they've got that to look forward to. In other news, Monster Hunter World. Now, this isn't a game I haven't played it. I tried the demo, and I didn't think the demo was very good, but people swear by this game, so at some point in my life I will give it a go. Monster Hunter World has surpassed 8.3 million copies sold, which I don't have it in front of me, but I think that's one of the best it's done in the franchise, really. This is like its first sort of soiree outside of the Nintendo systems, so it's very big for the franchise, and it's apparently really paid off well. 8.3 million sold is nothing to sneeze at, so yeah, that for all you Monster Hunter World fans out there, that's what you've got to look forward to. Okay, wrapping up now. Digimon Survive, that got announced last week. I was very excited for it. It has been confirmed that it is going to come to the West. It's going to get an English release at some point. When it's going to happen, not a clue. But there was a trailer posted for it, like showing gameplay and such, and it was in English. Well, most of it was in English. So that does mean, yes, it is going to come out in English at some point. probably sometime next year. I don't know if it'll be closer to the Japanese release date. I don't imagine it will. Maybe like a month or two apart. Hopefully not like a whole year apart. That'd be ridiculous. But at the end of the day, that's what it takes. It's what it takes. Now, I also mentioned last week how when we were describing how the game plays, it felt, in the combat sense at least, it felt like a Disgaea kind of thing. And I was basically right. You can look at the trailer now on YouTube and such, and you look at the combat side of things, and it's like, yeah, that's very Disgaea. If you've played Disgaea, I've only played a bit of Disgaea, but yeah, it's that whole grid-based, turn-based movement style gameplay with energy usage and stuff. But the Disgaea games are ones that I've wanted to really get into. In fact, I'll probably put it on my list to play soon. But that's gonna be a big game to commit to. And on the other side of things, the story side of things, we got to make choices and interact with various characters and stuff. That seems very reminiscent of Danganronpa, which is also another brilliant game series I'd recommend. Is Danganronpa? It's like a visual novel style game, but that's very different in terms of tone and story than Digimon. I don't think Digimon's gonna go down the Danganronpa route of storytelling, but we can only wait and see on that one. Nearly there now. We had apparently there was some, I didn't see this until it was shown to me, but there was some The Wolf Among Us Season 2 leaked images in quotation marks there for you guys not watching on YouTube, and people were very unhappy with how it looked because Baby Wolf looked he looked fat-ish. He had like a bit of a fatter face than normal. It wasn't as gruff and wolf-like as he is supposed to be. But apparently it's for anyone who's worried about those images. Telltale Games been like, we didn't show these off. This isn't ours. I don't know where this has come from, but this is not Season 2 of The Wolf Among Us. Which you can take as like a double-edged thing. It could be them. They could be telling the truth. It could be them saying, "Yeah, no, this really isn't us. Don't read into this. This is not Wolf Among Us Season 2. This is someone's fucking fan images or some bollocks." Or it could be them being like, "Oh yeah, no, it's not Season 2 at all." Quick, guys, change the fucking look of the Bigby. Quick, change him. We'll see on that one. I don't think that's due out until next year, but we have a few other things in the way, like the final season of The Walking Dead's coming out. They announced a Stranger Things series as well, so that's due out as well. We'll have to see on that one. And the last piece of news could be good or bad, depending on how you look at it. Pokemon Let's Go, the game's coming out this year. The Pokemon fan base is kind of divided on it. Some are excited, some are not so excited, some think it's very watered down. I can understand both sides of the argument. But one thing we saw in like the E3 Nintendo showcase thing was that the gym with of Brock, I forget which city gym it is, Pewter City? I'm not sure. That gym required you to have a water or grass type in your party to fight Brock. And people were like, oh, okay, maybe it's just the first one to really give you a show of type advantages, because obviously this game is geared towards newcomers to the series. But apparently it's also being said that all the gyms are going to be like that. Not strictly type-based, but some might be level-based. Hopefully not specific Pokemon-based requirements to fight those gyms. Speaking personally, I have no issue with this. I think especially with like types and stuff, that's kind of how I play Pokemon. Is I build usually a mixed team, and I always sort of level the type of the type Pokemon that I need for a gym the most around that gym. So while that and the level thing is also not really a big issue for me either, because I like to have them at least 2 or 3 levels around about where the kind of the fights leading up to the gym leader are. So really, this is just kind of a problem for like the hardcore Pokemon fans who really aren't excited for this game. Really, I still think it's gonna be a good game. At the end of the day, it's Pokemon on like a home console, and it looks pretty fucking good. So the other thing I'm worried about personally is I've heard a few rumors and stuff that the character gender is locked to the version of the game. So, like, because I've ordered Let's Go Eevee, I'm going to have to play as a girl, which isn't a big deal, really. I don't have a problem with it. It's just, I don't see why that would be locked to the version of the game. But people have said no, people have said yes. It's a case of until the game comes out, we don't know, really. So, yeah. But that is it. That is all the news this week. Like I said, guys, it's a very quiet week for news in terms of not a lot's happened, really. And obviously it's quiet here because it's just me this week, as you probably noticed. Do apologise for that. Not a very long podcast again. I can only but apologise, but I know that next week Liam will be back and we'll do a full-on proper podcast, and hopefully a lot more things will be discussed next week. Hopefully a lot more things in the news will happen. Maybe we'll find out about James Gunn and stuff. Maybe the Disney Fox thing might even be done by next week. We have no idea. We'll probably hear more news about Spider-Man Far From Home and who else has been thrown into the fucking pot. But that is it. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a like, subscribe on SoundCloud and YouTube. Follow us on the Facebook page. That's where we post most often, and you can get in contact with us there. That is it for this podcast, guys, and the game, which is how we always sign off on this podcast with a nice reminder that you all just lost the game. Ah, goodness. And bye-bye.